Coming up, a Sad Styles production. Get into it!
Cowabunga dudes, this week we go deep on your favorite Renaissance thinkers. Finally, a game of class. We got Leonardo, Raphael, and they're holding up a phone. Oh, Jesus Christ, what? Oh, they're... okay, I guess we're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge this week on the Retrograde podcast.
Welcome to the Retrograde
podcast, where we remind you what you used to love and whether or not you still should.
I'm Andrew Bascom, and with me as always is the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself,
Michelangelo Aaronworth. I mean, how can it be anything but? How can it be anything but? Lay up. Well, here's the unfortunate thing, though.
What's that?
Listen, my name is Mikey. My real name is Mikey. My Scientology name is Mikey. Aaronworth, thank you very much. So everyone always assumes that my favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle is going to be Michelangelo.
It's not?
It should be everyone's, right? But it isn't.
Well, no, not mine.
So, so first of all, listen, if you're new to this podcast, First of all, thanks for listening. Typically what we do on the podcast is we take a look back at the games that we used to play when we were kids. Usually it's something we had an affinity towards one way or another. We rate and review the game as we remember it when we were little kids, play the game, and then rate and review the game as it holds up in the modern day. Against the likes of modern games, we've got a special episode this time around, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, a game that came out to pay homage to the arcade and NES and SNES Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games that we loved as kids. That's what we're here to explore. But before we get into the game, Andrew, you were about to say something about your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
I just love it's like, we're doing retro games. So, of course, we're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. You're like, absolutely. You don't need to blink at it. And then you go, that game came out recently. And you're like, wait, whoa, that's the surprising part.
Right. And it looks, I mean, you know, a typical homage being paid to the games that we used to love, like all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games. So when this game was announced a couple years ago, if not just a year ago, it was incredibly highly anticipated. And it came out, I think, earlier than people expected because we didn't have a firm release date. And then it just came out early to mid-June. And now we're finally getting a chance to play it on this podcast. Kind of taking the world by storm. Not just a nostalgia trip. Apparently, it is actually very good. But, you know, we will absolutely talk about the game. And we're going to talk Ninja Turtles in detail. We're going to talk a little bit about what we've been playing over the last couple weeks and so. But, Andrew, you were about to say...
sorry.
Let's get into this because when people tune in, they want to know. Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Right, absolutely. It's either that or which of the Sex and the City characters are you most likely? We really are one big BuzzFeed listicle of a podcast.
You know what? I've always said this, and people don't really get this, but
you're a Samantha?
No, actually, my Sex and the City character is Raphael.
Really?
They're in Manhattan.
They are. They're in the sewers.
They're in there somewhere.
They're in the sewers. My answer for both. New York.
I am. The third character?
The fifth character. Well, I don't know. Is Splinter a character? No, so there's four women.
Right.
And New York. New York's the fifth character, right?
Yes. But also, I was going to say on the call sheet, New York is third on the call sheet, though. So
Cynthia Nixon got bumped down. Yeah. No. Okay. So you didn't say you're. So by the way, funny enough, Michelangelo goes by Mikey a lot too. So
that's it, right?
That
so I could have said Mikey Aaronworth, and just they would have assumed it was Michelangelo. Before you want me to give the names of the turtles?
Oh, sure. Just in case I can't remember them.
No, not you, but you know the dumbass listeners who are tuning in. People who have Googled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and found this new podcast and they're like,
the hell?
What are these?
TMNT.
First of all, did you know that in Europe it's called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles?
Oh, because ninjas went through that thing. Remember there was the band thing that we talked about during Ninja Gaiden?
It was like too violent a thing, so that in Europe they had to be Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, which is crazy.
It's like spraying everyone down with cold water. Like, I know you're really excited about this ninja thing. Knock it off. Like, get the hell out of here.
So speaking of ninjas, obviously a lot of ninjas have katanas.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know any personally.
No, but that's the point.
Oh, maybe I do.
There might be, first of all, you do. And there might be three around us at all times.
Wait, what do you mean I do? Why do you sound so certain when you say that?
I'm just saying.
Why are you wearing all black right now?
It's just a choice that I wear. It's very slimming.
Can you do me a favor? I'm going to be like a male tennis announcer to the female tennis competitors. I'm going to ask you to do a little twirl for me right now because there's something on your back.
Oh my God,
give us a twirl. Give us a twirl, Andrew.
Sorry. Yes, I will.
Okay. Okay. See that on your back. What would you define those two sticks with blades on them?
I would describe them as garden shears.
Oh, okay, okay. So you
related
are like
to Harry Shears, yeah.
Harry Shears. I was going to say kind of related to the groundskeeper that I burned alive in his bunkie.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Because yeah. I suspected him of doing some pretty nasty shit. Here's the crazy thing. So I burned him alive in his bunkie.
Okay.
Right? Because we thought he was a predator. turns out, I think he's haunting us because
really?
even though I burned him alive, predation is still happening.
Really?
So because I know I got the right guy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like, no.
So he must be haunting their dreams in death. There's no way I just fucked up and killed the wrong dude.
We are 5 minutes into this episode. Are you following along? Mikey, what's your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Let's line them down. First one
yeah.
is
don't give anything away.
No, I'm not. I'm
just
listing them in order of age. Okay.
Oh, they're all different ages?
Yeah. There's the older to youngest, oldest to youngest.
Can I guess who's the eldest?
Sure.
Leonardo?
Leonardo's the oldest.
Yes.
Leonardo's
and then youngest is Michelangelo?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is exactly what you would expect.
Yeah, okay.
Leonardo with the katanas, the blue eye
covering mask.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Leader, most mature. That's fairly typical of him. Raphael is the twin Sai. He's mean and mad all the time. He's got a
the bad
grudge.
boy.
He placed 23rd on IGN's top 100 comic book characters of all time. The only Ninja Turtle to place on that list, which is kind of a surprise there. Donatello, purple, bow staff, the smart one, and the personality was based off of Peter Laird, the creator of the Ninja Turtles.
Oh, well, that's really cool.
Michelangelo, aka Mikey, a great name. Also has nunchucks, great weapon. Naturally skilled but undisciplined, the typical party animal.
Famous virgin, yeah.
Famous virgin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great name, famous virgin.
Listen, Mikey's got a girlfriend now.
Oh, we're saying this on the podcast. Mikey's got a girlfriend now. After 4 canonical years of joking about loneliness, Mikey has a girlfriend.
I'm not saying I'm not a virgin still.
Oh, I didn't say that either. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Please don't say, legally you can't say that.
Yes, allegedly. Allegedly. Mikey the virgin. Yeah, so who would you be? That's really interesting. So Mikey's other question. All right, got it. Everyone,
do you need me involved in this at all or no?
Just let me show my work here.
Okay.
It's like long division. Okay, so Raphael was also very popular because it was a very like Wolverine-esque type thing at the time.
Yes.
The anti-hero, there was the bad boy and whatever. No one understands me. That's very popular at the time. Leonardo, the leader. Other than that, I don't know why anyone would choose Leonardo because he's got no personality whatsoever. He seems also like burdened. He's so the eldest child. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Where he's like burdened by like just trying to do the right thing and like trying to keep everything together while Splinter has been canonically. He's kind of like Aunt May in Spider-Man, where he's canonically like 90 all the time. Like he's always
he has 2 katanas.
He's always on death's door. Yeah. Oh yeah. Aunt May's always got 2
Aunt
katanas.
May always has 2 katanas.
Yes, exactly. Would you like one of my katanas? She's always offering Peter. And they're just always on death's door. So Leonardo always feels like, well, I gotta do this thing. Man, so, and then Donatello, you know what? I think you're a Raphael guy.
No.
Really?
I think the 2 typical choices are Raphael and Michelangelo.
Yeah.
That's everyone's favorite for the most part. I appreciate them. I think they add good color, and I understand why a character like Raphael, with like, you write in some subtext to them, they're a more complicated character than any of the rest of the characters,
Very
more
much
real
so.
character. Yeah. But I never like the character or the hero that's like out of line from the team. I never like that.
True.
I don't like that. I honestly do. Donatello is fantastic. I always love Donatello, and Leonardo. I know you say that you're not supposed to like him, but I like that silent burden of responsibility character.
So true.
Yeah.
I should have seen this coming. That you're like, you like the idea. You're like, why aren't we here on time?
Yeah.
Splinter needed us.
Michelangelo's like, I was busy doing it myself.
Yeah.
And you're like, but we are a team.
I told you this time, follow your agenda.
Who's your favorite?
Donatello. We would have been a great team.
Yeah, we would have been a great team. You could have added anyone else to our team.
Yes.
And we would have been able to lead them.
100%. You could have added what are the 2, like the pig and the...
Oh, Bebop and Rocksteady.
Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah.
Add them to the team. We're a great team.
You know what? We're also, I feel like we extend the olive branch to our enemies every so often. 100%. I feel like we could have brought them on and been like, hey, work for us for a little bit.
100%. We're not speciest.
Yeah.
Like where it's, you're a pig? I don't care.
Also, I think it's about time. Speciest? Yeah, maybe.
Speciest? I don't know.
I think it's about time that we eventually we're going to have to do this, not just you and me, but on behalf of humanity and turtle kind, is offer our sincere apology to the Foot Gang, because we've been kink shaming people for too long.
Right. Yeah,
and to marginalize an entire gang just because of their virginity. Yeah. Don't marginalize people because of their alleged virginity. Don't do that.
Right. Allegedly. I just want to throw in there legally.
You can't say just because you want it to be legally, Andrew. I need you to convey a sense of confidence when you say it, because otherwise people are going to think that you're mocking me.
Right. Oh, right. You got it. Like they believe me.
Yes.
Okay. Allegedly.
Thank you.
No problem.
But I mean, the foot gang's just walking around with a foot fetish all the time, and we're like marginalizing them. Like, let's kick these guys to the curb. It's our own Stonewall situation.
Right. Yes. It's
just lining them up. Like we apologize.
Wow.
We shouldn't be doing that. The Turtles were not great people.
No, don't. We need to
Splinter was a homophobe.
Happy Pride, everybody. We need to look back. You know, history is written by the victors, right?
Yeah.
And you think that, were the Turtles that good at people? I don't know.
I don't think they were. Well, they definitely weren't good people.
How were they as turtles?
Has there ever been a cartoon that's drawn pizza to look more delicious?
No. I think it's up there with food in movies and television that looks so good.
Yeah.
Do you see anything else come to your top of your head? Because the way that the cheese slides out and stuff like that, I'll put it up there with foods never looked as good in the Goodfellas movie when they're chopping it in prison and they're chopping little garlic and stuff like that. That's so good. And then the other food scene I always think about, it's just like I had it ready, is in Hook.
Oh, that one for sure. But I'm going to say one that's
when
they're
imagining the food, and I think it's like icing or
it's
ice
like
cream.
Multicolored. It looks like Super Kid ice cream.
It does, and they're flicking at each other. I'm like, man, that looks pretty.
It looks
fucking
delicious.
good.
You're missing a big blind spot. Is any Studio Ghibli movie?
Oh, that's so true.
Ghibli or Ghibli? I know we've been over this before.
I always say Ghibli.
Yeah.
If someone has a definitive answer on this, please let us know.
All of the food scenes in that, like I think of Princess Mononoke and Billy Bob Thornton's character cooking all of. Actually, it was just Billy Bob Thornton in Princess Mononoke. Yeah, he was there. He had a vial of Angelina Jolie's blood. He was fucking Halle Berry in Monsters Ball. Yeah. It was a weird scene.
Yeah, he's got a soul patch.
Really weird scene. He's got a soul patch. No, but yeah, pizza in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles always look amazing. It's the chewiness of the cheese that you could never mimic in real life.
But if you had that much cheese in real life,
it would be disgusting.
No, don't
disgusting.
Want that. Yeah.
I also want to say this before we talk a little bit about our recent video game endeavors.
Sure.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, obviously a great cartoon, great comic. Constant iterations since the 1980s when it was first created. And they've kind of been recreated to speak to different adolescent audiences and also teenage and adult audiences. The tone is wildly varied and always seems to work, so much so that I've given this recommendation before on the podcast. Batman has a cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
Called Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a crossover of their universes, and it is chef's kiss phenomenal. It is so good. If you're out there and you like either the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Batman or neither, watch it anyway. Yeah. It's great.
If you like good cinema.
If you like Batman saying it's pizza time, then you're in for a treat. And Mikey, this is the best version of Mikey I've ever seen in this universe. I also, before we get off the topic of Batman, last night I was like, you know what? I haven't watched a Batman cartoon in a while. I'm gonna watch one. Ordered it on Prime Video. It starts out, I'm like, I've fucking seen this one before. Son of Batman. It turns out I've seen it already. Damian enters the fray. But oh well, it was a little bit disappointing. But Andrew, I know that you've been traveling recently. We had to record a couple episodes in advance, so I don't know. Have you even had time to play video games lately?
You know what? I have. So it's a two-part question. Thanks for asking. So flying, I downloaded a bunch of games for my phone. I got back into Around the World in 80 Days, which is
nice.
Got to be one of my favorite games I've ever played in my life. And I was trying to sell it to my player one. I'm going like, the music is so good and it's atmospheric, and it's a text-based adventure, right?
Yes.
But it's so like the noises are so nice and like the mechanical sounds and stuff, and it was so good, and it was kind of fun while you're traveling. You're also traveling and trying to figure out like, oh, it's a train ticket to Berlin, this much money, and blah blah. So that's really great. But before I left, I literally arrived back last night. So like this is just keep that in mind. It's right now 4 a.m. my time.
And you have a Mai Tai in your hand.
Yeah, I do have a Mai Tai.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
That you were drinking a lot of Mai Tais at 4 a.m.
Actually, I was so tired. I took off my tie and I drank a Mai Tai. And then I was downloading some games off of PS Plus. And I now have a new bevy of games that I cannot wait to try. And so here are the 3 games that I've downloaded.
Because I was looking at the bevy you did have was the Mai Tai. Now you have a new bevy?
My bevy. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Please stop staring at my bevy. So I've downloaded Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh,
because I heard it was good.
I'm so surprised you haven't played that yet.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Well, Time will tell.
Yeah.
I'll play it. And then Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes.
Which I've talked about forever.
Yes.
And I've always wanted to play, and I think it will come right down my alley.
Yes.
And then the other one is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, amazing.
And so I think those three, will keep me away from dreaded MLB The Show and Fortnite and everything else.
Yes.
My Overwatches.
Right.
That's just a term we use now.
Overwatch is my, which I'll get into in a little bit, my game that keeps me from playing other games all the time. Yes.
Yeah, it's my time suck of a thing. So those are the three I'm going to be playing. I'm going to keep myself honest. You know I am. I'm an honest boy. And I will play those games, and I'll report back on how I'm doing next week.
Yeah, PS Plus kind of taking to the scene with like some heavy hitters. We were looking. We've always said this. Game Pass, best value in gaming. Tons of great games on there. Day one games, this and that. But and I would always look at PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus before they kind of merged into one as secondary to that.
Right.
And again, we get accused of this all the time. I don't have an affinity towards Microsoft over Sony whatsoever. I'm just looking at what I'm getting value in. PlayStation Plus coming to the scene, like, I don't know if I ever would have played Guardians of the Galaxy if it weren't in a subscription service like this, but I may very well play it at this point, just because it's being offered. But PlayStation Plus has like a very good selection of games, and I know that Microsoft has way more production studios now under their belt that they could potentially lean on for exclusives. But if this is like, it looks like we're heading to this model of subscription service across the board almost. And whether that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing remains to be seen. But I'm excited at least to enjoy the early goings of it, where I'm like, there's too much value in this. This can't be sustainable, but I'm going to enjoy it while I can. Overwatch has been back in my roster of games that I've been playing. Unfortunately, the beta got me back into it, like fucking got me back into it. And the second beta is now, as of June 26th, open again. I applied. I did not get accepted. There is a way to get in. Now, the more I experience Activision Blizzard as a company, the more time we get to spend with them as a major entity, the less I like them. Yeah. And this is not to besmirch any of the individuals who work there, who are just, doing a great job. There are some incredibly talented people. I think Dan Shu is, who used to be the editor-in-chief of EGM, works there now. And I've always been a fan of his and all that. But it's very clear that they are in all of this for the money. Of course, they're a company, but the ways in which they are almost getting predatory with their demands for buying into their products is kind of upsetting. Think about Diablo Immortal. That's just been exposed as a cash grab for them. I know a lot of people are enjoying it, just like a lot of people were enjoying Pokemon Go or Simpsons Tapped Out or Farmville or whatever other games there are. But they're just taking it. It's just so clearly showing that the debate over whether Diablo was like even a game or just a click factory with like a nice veneer over it, they're just showing what their intentions always were all along. And they're doing something similar with the Overwatch 2 beta. Overwatch 2 coming out October 4th is a free-to-play game. Yeah. You don't have to buy it anymore. No. Great. But you can if you want to. And for $60 or whatever it is, you can get access to a couple skins, become like a founder member or something, and also get access to the beta between now and October 4th, whenever the beta comes back up. Okay. Now, if you had to buy the game when it came out on October 4th, I would do it in a heartbeat now. And I'd take it and I wouldn't think twice about it. But I just have something fundamentally against paying for a game that I don't have to pay for so that I can play it as essentially a tester. As a tester. To give them data that they're going to need to release to people who aren't paying for the game. Like, it's like the way they did it before, where you had to watch 6 hours of a Twitch stream of someone playing Overwatch 2. That's great. It puts Overwatch 2 up there in Twitch. It was leading the I don't know, rankings of games viewers per game. Yep. That was super smart. But asking me to pay the $60, I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't think I'm going to do it. And honestly, I think it's for the best, because going back and playing Overwatch 1, I never have a good feeling when I finish it. I'm getting better at it somehow.
Oh, no.
But Overwatch 2, I feel like I'm still learning and I'm moving towards something new. So I feel almost more productive playing Overwatch 2.
Sure.
But I feel like I'm wasting time playing Overwatch 1. I'm going to try to continue to spend my time. I'm way back on the Elden Ring bandwagon. You walked into my place today where we record the podcast. I was playing Elden Ring. I respect my character finally yesterday.
Okay.
I've got, instead of the Dex build, I've got a Claymore. It's more of a strength build. I'm having a lot of fun there. I'm going back and trying to enjoy just living in the world as opposed to mainlining the story, which has been causing me a ton of headaches, as I've mentioned a few times on the podcast.
Also a metaphor for life, yeah.
Oh, very much. Well, mainlining is that it's not just the main story that I...
Just trying to get through the story.
It's just trying to get through the story.
Get me
through to the end. Yeah.
Tell me how it ends.
I don't like this side quest about smelling roses. What is this about? But Steam Deck, I've got it again. Oh. The more I hold that thing in my hands, the more I am deeply, deeply in love with this thing.
Okay.
It's fantastic. It's such a great piece of hardware. I continue to slowly piece my way through Disco Elysium. I got Rogue Legacy 2.
Okay.
Which Rogue Legacy 1 is my favorite roguelike game or roguelite game that I've ever played. And Rogue Legacy 2 feels like an improvement on that. I'm so addicted to Rogue Legacy 2, and having it in a handheld form is fantastic. There's way more classes. The upgrade tree is a little bit more extensive. The combat is relatively similar, but more varied because of the new number of classes and the way that they vary gameplay as opposed to just like Rogue Legacy. I think I've explained it before, but essentially the idea is they've written the losing of progress upon death into the storyline, where you are a knight and you're supposed to make your way through this castle. Every time you enter the castle, it like reshifts itself to be like new form, so you never know the layout of the maps. But when you die, you're reborn as one of the heirs of your family's throne. Cool. But when you're reborn, you have different specs, different classes, and sometimes like disabilities of a sort. Okay. So nearsightedness, where like everything apart from outside of you is blurry, or
hemophiliac.
Hemophiliac, where and, is that like you bleed too much?
Yeah, you can't stop bleeding.
Yeah. That actually is one,
which is a very famous like royal disease.
Yes,
because of incest.
Well, that's why my family we bleed all the time.
Yes, do not prick Mikey.
What do we say about kink shame?
Because allegedly he's a virgin.
Allegedly. So you're coming back, and each of the disabilities that you're dealing with will add sort of a multiplier to the gold that you collect. Cool. And it's just a very fun way. It's the pinnacle of that one more round type of gameplay, like you talk about with Civilization.
Jesus Christ! I think I deleted that.
Oh, did you delete it?
Oh, I had to, Mikey. It was like 3 a.m, and I'm just like, Ottoman Empire, gotta kill India. Yeah, no, it's just brutal. So at least now I have nothing else to waste my time except for Valhalla, Guardians of the Galaxy. By the way, Guardians of the Galaxy, even just you're bringing up, you're like, at least I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
Didn't it like come out? The reviews were good, and then I never heard another thing from it ever again.
Do you know why that probably is?
Why is that?
Because Marvel's Avengers exists as a video game.
Yeah, I guess so.
And it was relatively close. I mean, with the snakes and ladders time warp of COVID, it's tough to tell exactly how far away it was. I think it was 2 years ago that Marvel's Avengers came out, and then Guardians, or maybe a year and a half prior to Guardians coming out. But I think everyone was just like, oh, we've had this game in some form or another. Why would I want to play it as Guardians? But Guardians is far and away a better game, according to reviews.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm excited to play it. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah. Guardians, the great thing about Guardians is you've got, a gang full of people, each with their own personalities, much like the topic of this week, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We've got Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo, and a lot of fun on our hands. Andrew, I think the best way we go about this is by talking a little bit about maybe our experiences playing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games as kids.
Oh, absolutely.
It feels like not even a rite of passage. I just can't imagine growing up as, someone in the late 80s, early 90s, as a kid who had access to video games. I can't imagine you not having played a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. It was like ubiquitous, synonymous with the like playing games and playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This specifically the line of Konami arcade style games there. Do you have any specific memories of those games looking back?
Absolutely. There was a Chuck E. Cheese down the street, and it was where a lot of people's birthdays were. And right at the front corner was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, hell yeah.
It was the first thing you saw. And I would just park my ass in front of that. I still do. You know, I go there every week now, and it's a lot of fun to revisit those memories.
Well, they say you can't enter there unless you have a kid with you. I know you don't have a child. Where are you?
Like, I always just like, do something. Do something. So, do something. 17-year-old like busser.
That's
like,
true.
Like,
just really throwing your weight around.
Yeah, 100%. I've gotten really good at playing the game while getting punched in the back of the head. No, it's one of the it was such an iconic game, that side-scrolling game, and a lot of people have like we've done some side-scrolling games recently.
Yes,
and. You know, people have a lot of really great memories of Streets of Rage and all this kind of stuff. The side-scrolling games for me were always IP games.
Oh, right.
They were The Simpsons or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff
X-Men.
like that. X-Men, thank you. And so it's like, those are the memories that really did it for me.
Right.
And even this one, funny enough, I didn't find that like the abilities were that different, unlike X-Men or unlike, Simpsons, where they're like, the distance of their hit is a little different and the speed and stuff like that. I just absolutely love this game because I also love the arcade and I also love because I also love the cartoon and I also love the movies and I had toys and stuff like that. This was just like a perfect. This is where synergy came from. I think.
I think is
through my body and through my parents' wallet. I guess.
And now in all your business meetings.
Yes,
synergy, baby.
Yeah, synergy. Everyone put on your orange, blue, purple, and red eye masks. We need to describe synergies. A bunch of people in suits tying them up.
I had one of the coolest things I ever got as a kid was my brother and I got it. It was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pajamas, and each of the pairs of pajamas had one of the Ninja Turtles pictures on it, and it came with their headband. So my brother and I would walk around in Ninja Turtle pajamas with like a purple headband or a blue headband. I can't remember which color I have, but I'm sure I have pictures of it somewhere. It's interesting though, when you're talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games, we always kind of talk about them as though they're one game, but there were a lot and we've played most of them. In fact, we played Turtles in Time on this podcast is one of our earliest episodes.
Yes.
Like I'm like episode 4 or something like that. I don't even think it's available on our podcast feed anymore. Thank God. I don't think we would have been very good at that back then, 4 years ago.
Awful.
But let's go over and explain some of the past Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games and how we got to where we are here. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the NES. Notoriously, this was not the arcade port. This was just a very difficult game for the Nintendo Entertainment System. A lot of people played it, and a lot of people thought it was terrible. Okay. I think history has looked back on it by saying it's not necessarily terrible. It's just unfair.
Like Star Wars prequel bullshit, or like
just like an old Simpsons game where it was just difficult for difficulty's sake.
Right.
And if you're playing this to feel like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you don't want to be dying every 30 seconds. Then you have the port of the arcade game in 1990 released as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade. This is when it started to get good. And this is where a lot of people's first experiences with the side-scrolling Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games started, especially on the NES. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project wins best name for sure.
Whoa,
yes.
Oh my God. They built and dropped a nuclear bomb?
Yeah. That's why they became mutants.
Okay. Asked and answered, I guess.
Human beings, they went into the sewers, radiation turned them into turtles.
Okay, so this is an important part of the lore that I want to get into. They were never humans.
No, they were turtles.
They were turtles.
Yes. They are turtles.
They are still turtles.
Right. They remain turtles.
But the turtles are humanoids almost.
Right.
They resemble humans.
Yes.
Except they're turtles. Where does this come from? You know what I mean?
You're talking about the anthropomorphizing of turtles, which happens when they come in contact with the ooze. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. 2 long arms, 2 long legs.
Does that not answer your question? I mean, I just told you they come in contact with the ooze, Andrew.
Yeah, the ooze is doing a lot of heavy lifting with this story, I think.
Very hand-wavy. Very hand-wavy.
And then was ooze. And you're like, oh, that's bad, I guess, by the way he's describing it.
I always love, speaking of, the concept of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and everything, as I'm looking at a dog in our recording studio, moving around the wires and hopefully not knocking anything over as he's about to do. Maybe not.
Okay.
But is the original conception of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Peter Laird in the comic book. I believe Laird would have done the first one. I can't imagine he wouldn't have. But they all had the red. The red.
And it was in like black and white.
It was in black and white with the red, but then you couldn't tell the difference between all of the turtles.
Right.
Or it was too hard to. That's when they decided to make it like to brighten it up a little bit, make it a little bit less dark. The initial,
very dark.
very dark, right? And I almost want them to do a reboot of it. I think there's room for that, of like a very dark Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I want blood. I want guts.
It would be great though. It's like some kind of combination because Michelangelo's like, "Hey man, I gotta eat some pizza. I'm really hungry," and then rips the head off of a foot soldier.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Just like completely disembowels him.
Exactly,
without blinking, like just a complete monster. You know what's funny? I think I've done this on the podcast before, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are based off of Daredevil.
Yes,
yeah, and they're like almost a 1-for-1. The hand, the foot.
Yep.
You know, Stick, Splinter.
Yep.
It's crazy, but and it's so funny where
Shredder hardly knew her.
Charlie hardly knew her. Absolutely. Shredder, and then of course Daredevil's biggest opponent, Cheese. So it's so funny.
I was gonna say a wall in a dark alley.
Wall in a dark alley. Because he
just walks right into it. or like moved furniture in his apartment.
Mikey, Jesus Christ. So it's funny to me, not that other things, is because
it's a little
funny. Is because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has much more of a cultural resonance now than Daredevil, I think.
Yes.
You know, and who knows, maybe with Charlie Cox and everything coming back, you know, Daredevil will be the biggest next movie.
Sure.
But it is funny to me that like the thing based on the other thing. It's kind of like how we all have had Oreos, but we have no idea what Hydrox are.
That's it, right? Yeah, that was the exact same example I was going to use, right? The thing based on something else that supersedes the original. And that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well. Speaking of successors that have come to claim the throne, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4 on the SNES. Turtles in Time is basically the one that we all think of. That, or for me, I think a lot of people look at TMNT 4, Turtles in Time on the SNES, 1991 in the arcade, 1992 on the SNES. That's the one that most people remember. It's the one where you can throw enemies at the screen, and throwing enemies at the screen ended up becoming like a mechanic to beat some of the bosses and stuff, like Shredder being that, like so cool. Yeah, you're thinking about games like Battletoads that play around with the perspective of where you're going. You remember like the boss in Battletoads that comes up and you're playing from the perspective of the boss and kind of moving around. Like,
remember that
sort of thing. Like when they get creative there. I read a very cool article that I'll link to in either the description for the episode or on our socials at Retrograde Mikey or at Retrograde Andy or at Retrograde Pod on Twitter. According to Matthew Bird in an article he wrote for Den of Geek, what set this game apart in terms of the longevity and the potential for console-based licensed games was that the console game, while console games typically tried to be what they would call at the time, quote unquote, arcade perfect. Okay. Meaning like just a one-to-one recreation of the arcade game, this was actually better and is often seen as the definitive version, was the SNES version and not the arcade version. It had more content, some different elements to it. So when people think back to this game, it's not just arcade perfect, it's like arcade perfect plus. And that was kind of a way where we looked at it, we're like, maybe there's a future to this console thing after all, right? Because we'd already seen the fall of Atari at that point. Another game that a lot of people loved was Fall of the Foot Clan, 1990 Game Boy fan favorite. Hyperstone Heist was the first Genesis game that came out in 1992. And then there's a bunch of other games based on other iterations of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the CGI movie that came out in I think 2007. There was a brawler, the Michael Bay one. The Michael Bay one, yeah. There were a couple fighting games that actually have some pretty solid reviews. There's a pinball game.
Weren't they in Mortal Kombat?
They were in Injustice as unlockable characters. Yeah. That crossover with the DC universe works well for me.
That feels very weird to me.
It feels very weird.
Yeah, I don't know if I like it. Wonder Woman's like I'm gonna make soup out of you or something like that, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, it's like, that's what I do not need to hear Raphael say.
I like the idea that like she throws the truth lasso at Raphael, and he's like, my insides hurt from the ooze, just like constantly finally telling the truth. It's like, I'm angry because I'm in pain.
Splinter hurt us, and you're like, oh no, God, Jesus, I don't.
Have you seen King Richard? It's not an accurate retelling of how a parent makes a child achieve greatness. Splinter was cruel to us, but he did get beaten up by street youths on a tennis court once. Like,
okay, wow, it's all over the place. Very similar to King Richard.
Shredder, you know how we talked about this, how the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were based on Daredevil. Yeah. Splinter was based off of King Richard.
Right. Yes.
Not the Shakespeare King Richard. Yes. We're talking about the Williams sisters.
The Williams sisters. Funny enough, John Barenthal in both worlds.
Oh, yes.
That's so odd. Yeah. How about that?
Man, he owns that city. So we're looking now at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Could we please?
A clear homage to the games that we just talked over.
Yeah.
June 16th, 2022 is the release date. Developed by Tribute Games and published by Dotemu. I don't know how to pronounce that game, so don't ask me how to.
Okay, I won't.
Now, an interesting thing about Tribute Games, located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, founded in 2011 by former Ubisoft employees, many of whom worked on Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Cool, another game we loved.
Another game we loved, and Streets of Rage 4. Games that knew how to pay homage to the feel of a brawler that we loved from this era.
Yes.
So it's in good hands, I think, under this this company, Tribute Games. It features the voice actors from the 1987 original series, which is also really impressive. You got Cam Clark, Barry Gordon, Rob Paulson, Townsend Coleman, which is obviously a fake
Rob
name.
Paulson?
Yeah.
Like Yakko from Animaniacs, Rob Paulson?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a very storied voice actor. I'm sure most of these guys have credits beyond
I'm
just the...
sure they do. Rob Paulson just pops out to me.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
And here's another interesting thing that I was very excited to see, because we haven't played this game yet. We're going to be playing it for the first time on the podcast for you in a little bit. So if you want to join us for that gameplay, you're going to have to go over to patreon.com/Retrograde podcast, become a member of the Mushroom Club, and then you can witness us playing the game. It's going to be great. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. But what I was very excited to read about is this game includes... the original soundtrack was made by T. Lopez, who worked on Sonic Mania and Streets of Rage 4. Cool. So knows how to, again, lend that sense of nostalgia to it. But it includes musical contributions from Raekwon and Ghostface Killah from the Wu-Tang Clan.
Fucking shit.
Which is the modern day equivalent of Vanilla Ice, I guess, being in...
do they do ninja rap?
If only. Could you imagine if they did ninja rap?
Ghostface Killer's like... What? Just handing lyrics. He's like, I can't fuck with this.
I love that. I would be so happy if they did that. So the gameplay itself, similar to arcade, you can play as Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, Raphael, April O'Neil, Splinter, and Casey Jones.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
How cool is that?
Oh, I love Casey
Jones. Casey Jones, for those of you who don't, April O'Neil, I feel like needs no introduction.
Yes.
Splinter as well. But Casey Jones, if you're not a big fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, is a masked vigilante who is often meant to make fun of the depiction of masked vigilantes in comic books at the time. Wears a ski mask, or a hockey mask like Jason, and is just going out there wrecking shit in a very reckless way. Kind of like with the Batman mentality, but no gadgets and less skill.
I think he's the Punisher.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
because he also has like a little logo on his chest and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But his thing is that he has like a bag of sports gear that he beats the shit out of people up with, like a cricket bat or a baseball bat or
I like
hockey stick.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds great to me. I used to do that in my youth as well.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I'd have the bag.
Right.
What would always happen is they always say, like, if you're being attacked, don't grab a knife because you'll just get overpowered and they'll use it against you.
Oh, wow.
The number of times I got beaten with my own cricket bat. Like, come on.
What is this weird square bat? And they just pause while they're kicking the shit out of you.
Yeah, I'm down on the ground and they're just going through my bags. Like, what can we use to beat the shit out of this?
I love the idea that two of them... Okay, so you go with me on this one.
Okay.
Right?
I'll come with you.
So
can we hold hands?
Yeah, of course, always. Two local youths are kicking the shit out of you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And you're cowering.
Okay, I'm there.
You're cowering. You're on the ground.
As I do.
And he goes, well, let's see what else is in this bag. And he goes, do you think this is a good opportunity for the 3-iron or the 4-iron? Right? It's a caddy. It's a caddy joke.
I like that a lot. That's very good. That's very good. So Casey Jones is in there as well. You're fighting the Foot Gang, Krang, Bebop, Rocksteady, Shredder.
Krang. Rocksteady. Wow. Yeah. Jesus. Okay.
The one interesting thing about this is it has two modes: story mode and arcade mode.
Okay.
Arcade mode is exactly what you'd expect.
Yep.
Go until you die. You die. You're done.
Yeah.
Story mode, you're kind of building up as you go. Think Scott Pilgrim versus the World, where there are some you can kind of spend your currency on some new combat maneuvers and some increased stats and that sort of thing. Unlockable moves, power ups, that sort of thing. The most cool thing about this, so I read off all the characters you can play as. Right, there's 6 characters. 7 actually after Casey Jones, but this game allows for 6-player co-op, online and couch co-op. Oh my God. Which is just, thank you for understanding what it is that we're asking for, especially the couch co-op. How often we demand that and we never end up getting it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So we're going to get into the game in a little bit. Before we do, one more fun fact.
Okay.
Limited run games, a game similar to premium edition games. We had Barry on the podcast a few weeks ago, and they take these releases and they give them physical releases, which otherwise would be digital only. Limited run games made a special edition for this one. a collectible, which included a Sprite sticker, which is like great nostalgia to the original, and a Pizza Hut coupon that's redeemable, just like TMNT, the arcade game, had when that first came out. Like,
that's cool.
That's the type of love and attention to detail that makes me want to get a physical release, even though I don't really use physical releases anymore. It's amazing. That's
so cool.
Now, Andrew, I've described to you kind of the way that this game shapes up, how it plays, the fact that it's a nostalgia-centric sort of game, but with a lot of love and care. If you're going to guess, I don't know if you've paid much attention to the reviews of this game, but a game like this comes out. Where do you think this is going to rank in terms of percentages for Metacritic?
I bet you it's just under 80%, 79, 78%.
I would have guessed that as well.
Yeah.
We're looking, depending on the platform, between an 85 and 89.
Wow.
So that makes me very excited to play this game.
Holy shit. Why?
Well, we will find out in a little bit.
It's good, I guess?
Because it's good, hopefully.
Huh.
EGM gave it a 4 out of 5. Game Informer. Speaking of Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
Gave it, no, that's Snow.
What?
That's Snow. Never mind.
That's Snow. That's allegedly famous watch thief Snow.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Oh, we can't say it enough. Allegedly.
Allegedly, he definitely stole a watch. I can't believe I saw a comedy show about 2 months ago, and Snow closed it down. They brought Snow in to perform a song. I couldn't believe it. I thought he was there to get me.
Did you confront him?
For stealing my friend's watch?
Yeah, you're like, hey, let me see your wrists.
I said, I'm an informant for the FBI, and you got to give your watch back.
We were in a Uber overseas on my recent vacation, and Snow came on.
No way.
And
Snow is a rapper from Toronto.
Yeah, but his Informer was a big song, right? And I was like, it's burned in my brain, as it probably is for you, D-pads, where like I'm in the back of an Uber and I lean over to my player one and I go, Snow allegedly stole one of Mikey's friend's watches. That's the first thing I could think of. And Alex is like, player one's like, what? And I'm like, that's all I got to say. Allegedly.
The question floor is closed.
That's all I got in the matter.
Game Informer, so I gave it an 8.75. IGN an 8 out of 10, and GamePro a 7 out of 5, probably. If GamePro were still around. They're just handing out 5s like it's nothing.
Oh, that's so
They're
funny.
handing out 5s like it's a pepperoni at a pizza party held by Splinter and the gang.
Nice.
Down below in the sewers. But Andrew, I don't have a ton more to say about this. Because we don't have any experience playing it, we're going to be giving our ratings and reviews after the gameplay segment, which is coming up in a little bit. Anything to say before we lead off?
No, I'm so excited to play this game. This is like, it's like finding out, it's like opening like a time capsule.
Yes.
They're like, oh, they never released this thing that you really love. And you're like, wait, really? And you get to play it for the first time? That's my level of excitement right now.
And hopefully it leads up to or holds up to the expectations. I'm thinking it will based on the reviews. I'm excited to play it. So without further ado, we'll go to the other side. If you're joining us on Patreon, great. We'll see you there. Otherwise, we'll see you on the other side in 2 shakes of a mutant turtle's tail.
It might fall off. Wouldn't that be horrific? Shake. Oh my God.
Well, turtle soup without having to actually cut the knife off or anything.
Turtle tail soup.
Turtle tail games. I'll remember that. Just a reminder that you can now find our gameplay segments where we play through a portion of today's game and provide video commentary while doing it over on our Patreon, patreon.com/the Retrograde Podcast. Join the Mushroom Club for $5 US per month for access to all the gameplay, plus 2 to 4 bonus episodes per month where we do things like character drafts, top 10 lists, and even take some suggestions from our community. So show some support to the podcast by joining the Mushroom Club at patreon.com/the Retrograde Podcast for access to bonus content and all of our gameplay segments. We'll see you guys on the other side.
And welcome back to the Retrograde.
Cowabunga, dude.
Nice.
I made that up right now.
Casual. I like it.
Yeah.
I like
Improvised. Improvisation.
Yeah, it's one of your strengths.
Yes, and that was a great way to start the episode.
Yes, I am the president of the United States.
Yes, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yes, and you need to be quiet. That's my sister's dog.
The dog is here again.
The dog is here again. Which we're not going to show. Actually, you can see it if you're over on YouTube.
Oh, yeah,
you can
there
see
you go. You
his
can see
face.
just the head.
You can see his little face. A nice little visual joke for the audio audience.
So we just played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
We
Shredder's
did.
Revenge.
Shredder's Revenge. Now, maybe Shredder was getting revenge, but we got revenge on Bebop and Rocksteady.
Boy, did we.
We played our way through the first few levels, spent a decent chunk of time on it. Hey, if you joined us over on Patreon, thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
But if not, let's break it down, Andrew. What were your thoughts of this game?
It's It's unsurprising this is the same studio that brought us
Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim.
Yes.
There is a lot of like loving. Here's the thing: if you don't know the cartoon series, who knew that was actually going to be the biggest inspiration for all of this?
Right.
Between the theme song, that's like a re-inspired theme song from the cartoon, or the van from earlier, and all the
Love the van.
Even the designs of the characters themselves are all from that, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
So I just didn't know it was such like a loving recreation of something so specific instead of just like nostalgia for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah, and it seems like a new take on an old familiar formula, and it turns out that ends up being why these things succeed. It can't be exactly the same as the beat 'em ups that we remember. It has to infuse something new to it. And you know what's funny is the humor that you get in these games, yes, it feels very similar to like Scott Pilgrim, where you bust into a room and like the Foot Gang are typing on computers or like working a reception desk or something like that. You know what that reminds me of? Is Metal Slug. Metal Slug was doing that way back in the day with just weird situations that they'd set up. It was an incredibly violent game and an incredibly mature game at times, but it would set things up where it was like the enemies just doing weird things or like weird dances, or the prisoners of war like dressing up as different characters and things like that. Like that kind of humor feels like it's paying homage not just to it makes it seem like this game is paying homage not just to the gameplay of the era, but some of the humor in the era. You know, when you don't have voice acting in these ones and you can't have people telling jokes, you make situational jokes, and this game seemed to do a great job at that.
Yeah, and especially the thing that I'll always harp on with these style games is just how repetitive they are after a while.
Yeah.
And this stuff kind of helps break it up. There's many different types of enemies, and all it is just by the color of their like attire or whatever like that. And sometimes they're holding a weapon or a shield and stuff. But it's the little jokes about like people doing the workout class and going like, oh, I guess I got to beat this guy up now.
Yeah. Angrily throwing off their chef hat when you come in to break up their cooking show.
Yeah, it's like they're making a souffle and like, wow, this is going to be ruin my souffle. That makes me laugh. That's such a good idea.
It's great, and it makes it exciting to look around the environment. You know, in Final Fight when it's like, go, it's like next thing, like go to the next screen. In this, I'm excited to because I'm like, I have no idea what it's going to be. In Final Fight, it was like another alleyway or a subway or something like that. And it did have its moments where, you know, there's like a wrestling ring in the middle of a back alley, and now you're about to fight Andre, and like that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But in this, it was like it could be anything. It could not only could it be a weird setup in terms of like a TV studio or a car chase or something, but it's also this added thing of like what's the joke they're going to tell in this screen as well, which just makes things that much more exciting.
100%. I like the bosses too.
I agree.
They range in different styles of attack, and I will say, you could see the path to getting good at this game.
Yes.
Whereas it's more that like I was just so rushing in with like X
That's
attacking
it, right?
people. But I could imagine that thing. You know what? The one that I will think about, it'll keep me up at night, it'll drive me crazy, is that this thing of saying like, can you go through a whole level unharmed?
Yes.
And you know what? You could, if you really pay attention to it.
That's it. It feels, sometimes we play these old beat 'em up games. I think the ones that were balanced in the arcade era to get more quarters out of you, to kill you a lot. This didn't feel like that. It felt like it was giving you opportunities.
Absolutely.
The inclusion of a dodge button that gives you iframes is massive. And it has it, and I didn't realize it until later on. What's funny is we started off this game, and the first thing it shows you before you start the story mode is instructions. There's 21 pages of instructions. And you said, you're like, I can't imagine they're going to tell us anything we don't know. But there were things that we missed. The shoulder buttons do things like reviving people. There's some taunts that you can do. You can give yourself some more health.
There's meditating.
The ninja meter will allow you to do certain special moves, but will also allow you to get back certain health and things like that.
But in Britain, the hero meter.
Oh, right, the hero meter. Sorry, I don't mean to.
For anyone across the pond, I just wanted to make sure that...
Trigger warning.
Yeah.
I'm about to say ninja.
About a few hundred times.
About a few hundred times.
Yeah.
I like that. Trigger warning. Ninja alert.
Trigger warning. Ninjas exist. They're in this world, and we all need to prepare for this.
So that was cool. It was a much more elaborate game than I think I initially expected, and I needed that. I noticed as well that by moving the directional pad in different ways while I was attacking, I would get different attack patterns going. The hold felt pretty good. The grab felt pretty good, and then you have different ways to throw or attack beyond that. The special move felt good, and I like that it's borrowing from essentially a mana bar, the ninja bar, rather than your health bar, because I've always hated that in games. Like, how do you're like, well, okay, I'm going to attack the whole screen of people, but it's going to take off some health. I've never liked that.
No.
The one thing before we move off from the bosses, though, that I didn't like too much. And granted, Bebop and Rocksteady are almost supposed to be interchangeable for one another. So I get that those boss fights in the first and second levels were relatively similar, but I didn't love the fact that it was giving me vibes of like Batman Arkham Asylum, where the bosses were all variations of an enemy that charges at you, and then you just need to like do the same dodge attacks, gadget, punch, 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 dodge. And it felt like once you know the pattern of like Bebop, for example, he charges up, he rushes to one corner of the screen, shoots his laser, charges up, and you learn that you're like, oh, I can get one attack, a charge attack, dodge out of the way, and you can do that. That's cool. I like the ability to figure that out in bosses, but they felt a little bit uninspired, to be honest, to me. Because I thought maybe they'd throw something more creative at me in the beginning to show me like, hey, bosses aren't just going to be big dudes with an attack pattern like they typically are in these games. You know, and I don't know what the answer to that would be, but I know Contra's found a couple bosses where I'm like, oh, this is fucking crazy. This is something like unlike I've ever experienced before. So I have to imagine there would have been a way to figure that out in this one as well.
Well, I guess because in the third level we face a car.
Yes.
Because Rocksteady and Bebop are in the car.
Yes.
And you know what?
As the boss.
As the boss. And I will say it was frustrating, but I get it. Like I was like, oh, at least it's something very different, you know?
I did not like the hitbox on that car. It felt really tough to get close enough to it without taking damage. And there's a very big thread of, well, then just get better at the game. I can hear our listeners already saying that, but it just didn't feel good. There wasn't like, there was a moment where I was attacking the shit out of it, thinking I was out of range, but there wasn't enough feedback going on the screen to indicate that I was being damaged by the car because I was too close. And that lack of sort of a chunkiness made it feel, and I experienced this in all the boss fights, it just made it feel like I was swinging at air and not getting hit, but then I was getting hit. So when I took damage, it felt undeserved. And when I got damage, it felt like I wasn't getting enough feedback to feel positive about having gotten that damage. And that chunkiness is something that a game like Dark Souls or Elden Ring really gives you. And a lot of games do that. I use those as an example, but like, is there
your favorite games as an example?
Yeah, well, there's a reason why they're my favorite games.
Touche. So he parried my attack there.
I parried your attack. Yeah.
I get it.
So I would have liked a little bit more of that in this one. I don't know if there's room for it in a game that's as chaotic as this one, because the screens, like, talk about how full the screens get of enemies sometimes, right?
Yeah, no, there is a lot of screen bleed. So sometimes, you know, I was joking, you'll hear it in the gameplay, but is that like sometimes you forget which character you are because you're kind of getting covered by guys, and you're like, oh shit, I'm in the top left.
Yeah.
No, and I get that. I get that. I'm one man. I have simple expectations. But you know what I got to do? Kick some serious ass. I felt very strong, and I got to be one of my favorite characters of all time.
And it felt good doing it.
Yeah, it's just pretty much King Lear and Donatello, and Martin Luther King. And those
King
are my
Richard,
favorite
King
characters.
Richard, King Richard.
Oh, King Richard, of course. John Barathol and King Richard.
Yes.
And yeah, no, absolutely.
The one thing I will say is that, yes, the screens do get very congested at times, but you know what vibe they kind of gave me when that happened? All the enemies jump on screen in some of these cases at one time from various angles. And it's almost like a situation in Tetris when you're like, the screen is full, but I've got a system to this. And if you figure out the right way to drop the blocks, you end up clearing the screen unscathed and get more points as a result. So when you'd have 7 enemies drop at one time, if you maneuvered it right, you could corral them into one corner, knock them off the side of the screen, bounce towards you, hit them again, maybe end up with a special move, and it feels like getting a Tetris in Tetris.
Absolutely, it does. Like the combo can go up because you get to the point where, you know, it's a little Rorschach, like you're in here with me.
Yes.
Because you like, oh, more enemies, more attacks. Let's do this thing. You know, I'm ready. I'm excited. And you know, if you use that dodge correctly, which is what I was not doing.
Yes. Not until the end. Yeah.
I'd be really excited for that opportunity.
Yeah. The dodge feels like that opens up a whole new realm. And it's funny, like sitting here talking, rarely does this happen with a lot of the games we play, because we don't always play great games on this podcast. But sometimes we finish the gameplay and then I start talking about it and I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm figuring things out as we're talking that I could have been doing better. Half of my mind is here talking to you, and half of it is like, oh man, I should get back into it and try it out. Because like we finished Scott Pilgrim, which is a similar game made by the same studio, or sorry, a lot of the same people who were involved in the studio. And that was similar. We finished playing the game, and then I continued to play that game after we did it, and I got better at it, and I learned more things. I feel like this is going to be similar.
You think so?
I want to play more of this game. It's available. We played it, as we mentioned, during the gameplay, but if you didn't hear, we played it on Xbox Game Pass.
Game Pass?
I think it's on PS Plus as well. I don't know for sure. And I know it's also available on the Nintendo Switch. But look, if you have an opportunity to play it, I think you should. How do you think it held up to your memories of the past Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games?
Oh, I actually think this is one of the areas where it actually, clearly learned from the old game. It's clearly an homage to the old game.
Yeah.
But just got better off of it.
Yes.
I think it's just a better version. There's more stuff happening on the screen, and I mean that positively. I know you kind of said that negatively earlier, but there's more stuff happening on the screen. There's more things to draw your attention. I feel like the attacks and stuff were more nimble. You actually felt like a hero instead of like standing like a block and like punching,
Sure.
turning around, punching.
Yeah.
So I really thought it was just an advancement on the old one, which was really exciting.
I agree. It improved upon the old ones in just about every way. The fluidity of combat, and this happens with a lot of beat 'em ups, is how slowly you move. And I know you have the dash mechanic as well, but there's a feeling of like when I want to get out of the way of an attack quickly, they've remedied this by giving you the dodge button, but that's left and right. I want to be able to move up and down a little bit quicker to get out of the way of an attack. So that lack of agility doesn't feel great a little bit.
You and I didn't have high speed characters.
That's true too. Maybe April O'Neil would have.
And Michelangelo.
Yes. April O'Neil going. You got the bow staffs, you got the sais, you got the katanas, you've got the nunchucks.
The power of print journalism.
Power of print journalism comes in there just with a fucking microphone.
She swings with her Pulitzer.
And she doesn't Pulitzer punches at all.
Mikey. Very good.
But all in all, in spite of the fact that there's a little bit of that lack of agility sometimes, or that quick movement speed, I do think it improved upon it in every way. And I think one of the best things that this did was pay homage to some of the things that you remember. You can fall into a sewer, and a little bubble comes up, saying like, that just like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the I think it was both the NES and the SNES. In some of the versions, I know at least in Turtles in Time, throwing towards the screen, getting flattened by the cars when you're in there.
Yes.
The one thing I struggle with a little bit, because we talk about the variation, the fact that we play through the first and second levels in these beat 'em ups and they always feel great, and then we get a little bit stale.
100%.
The fact that they did vary it up with one of the levels where you're sliding around, it's the equivalent to the motorcycle level in Battletoads or Contra or something like that. You have a version of this, and it didn't feel great to me. I know you kind of disagreed, but I didn't love it. They varied up the gameplay a little bit, and it didn't feel great. So it doesn't bode well for the rest of the game when they try to vary things out. Maybe that's just one issue there. There was something that felt bad about having to jump and attack all those little robots. It just didn't feel like a fun mechanic, and I understand they have to vary it up. Did that work for you at all?
It was frustrating, but I'm trying to read why it was frustrating. Was it frustrating because it was different and it wasn't the same way that I'd gotten good at? Or was it frustrating because I could get better at it and it's just new and I should enjoy the newness of it?
Did it not feel to you like it was just limiting your moveset and limiting what you could do? Because it's like you're on something, so you're moving a little bit faster left and a little bit faster right, and you're paying attention for obstacles coming from off screen, but the combat felt less and worse. And I felt stifled by the fact that I had to do this boring jump attack against these robots in order to hit them.
Right.
And there were moments when like 3 flying guys would come on screen and it would just be you and me jumping at them with one little hit attack. If there were a way to jump and attack and stay in the air a little bit instead of just doing that dash attack, that downward dash attack, maybe that would have helped a little bit. There's no reason for that not to be the case. I mean, we have juggling moves in other games. Why can't that be the case in this one?
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. I enjoyed the mixing it up because I think if I just got the same thing as levels 1 and 2 over and over again, I think that I would have gotten stale faster.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see how else they mix it up. I'm not done with this game yet.
No, me either.
In fact, you guys wait here. I'm gonna go play it a little bit more.
Okay, we'll just wait over here. So what's up?
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, he's back. Okay.
Couldn't find the game.
Really couldn't find the game.
Couldn't find the game. I don't know where I put it.
Did you get a physical copy like we were talking about with a Pizza Hut?
Was
coupon?
I supposed to? I was looking in the cloud.
You didn't find your game in the cloud? Which system were you looking on?
Like the weather system? What do you mean? I went outside.
You were looking into actual clouds.
Yeah. I saw a lot of them that looked, it's crazy. Does this ever happen to you when you look up at the sky and you see the clouds and you're like, call me crazy.
Okay.
That one looks like cotton candy.
Right. I think a lot of them look like cotton candy.
Truer words, Andrew.
Yeah.
You see it too?
Yeah, I guess so.
I thought I was crazy because everyone's pointing up at those things and they're calling them nimbus and clouds and all that shit.
Yes.
Some people are like, that's like a face. I'm like, that's not a face. That's cotton candy.
Yeah, you stupid idiot.
You stupid idiot.
Yeah, it's like, we're looking at the same one. You're looking at that one.
Oh, that one looks like a dragon blowing fire. No, it looks like cotton candy.
Yeah. Most of them look like cotton candy, to be fair.
The vast majority look like cotton candy.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes they look like cotton candy when I've dropped it in dirt. And
dirt.
That's when I know you're going to call me crazy.
Okay.
You know, some people wake up and they're like, my knees hurt. It's going to rain today.
Yeah.
I can also tell when it's going to rain because the clouds look like dirty cotton candy.
Dirty cotton candy. You would do really well on Channel 6 with April O'Neil doing the weather. Mikey, what's your weather today? And you're like, dirty cotton candy, and everyone at home leads, I think it's going to rain. Just like they put an idiot on the air.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cotton candy in the sky today.
Hey, listen.
He means it's overcast.
Since 2016, I've been watching a lot of news coverage, and they put a lot of idiots on the air. I'm looking at you, Wolf.
Of course, the first one you go after, Wolf Blitzer, the peddler of mistruths. I don't think he's ever said one thing in his life.
I'm looking at you, Jim Nance.
Jim Nance, yes. Your burnt toast agenda that you're pointing at and pushing at all of us.
Oh, burnt toast agenda.
Yeah.
You know why it's getting so hot outside?
Yeah.
Because he's leaving the toaster on too long.
Hey, friends, get fucked. Oh,
Andrew, speaking of friends, let's join our other turtle friends, and you want to start rating this one?
Absolutely, I'd love to do that. I just want to say the next co-op game I'd like to see is the co-op of news reporters attacking Jim Nance, Wolf Blitzer.
Hey, I'm going as one of the Cuomo brothers. They look pretty jacked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you seen him? Have you seen him curling those 100-pound weights that clearly weren't 100-pound weights?
Whenever I found out, with the shirt choices, when I found out both nipples are pierced, I'm like, well,
whoa, really?
Oh yeah. It's good to know that the governor of New York had his nipples pierced.
I mean, if there's a state or city to be a governor
Nevada.
of. Yeah, true.
Jersey.
Wait, mayors are cities.
Holy shit. Did you really have to? Mikey looked up. Like he's looking up at cotton candy. And
well, because I was going to say left wing, right wing, and I had to do the L's and things with my hand.
Starboard is more letters, so that's right. Okay, wow. All right. Yes, let us rank and review these
now
games.
I'm hungry for a salad. Speaking of Cuomo's diet,
after all that cotton candy, you gotta eat some lettuce. Another very healthy, nutritious thing. Okay, so
bowls of salad tell me I'm wrong. They look like green cotton candy sometimes.
I'm always looking at trees and I'm like, that looks like a lot of lettuce.
It looks like a lot of lettuce, which looks a lot like green cotton candy.
What is going on? I'm fucking starving.
Have you ever looked at? You go to the circus.
Yeah.
You get like a little treat.
Yeah, get a little treat.
Get like someone rolls up the pink cotton candy for you. You're like, that looks like white cotton candy, but pink. Like, what is that? I'm starving right now. I'm so hungry.
I just want everyone to know that I'm fucking starving. This nature shit is making me fucking hungry.
Tempting me with its wily advances.
Yeah.
Making everything look like cotton candy of a variety of colors.
Yeah. Between this...
And I don't see colors for the most part.
Oh, boy. Oh, God. This person, of course, who is an idiot, would say something like that. Okay, let's get to...
Do you ever see... Look, this is Pride Month. This is the last thing I'm going to say.
Oh, God.
And everyone's like, oh, I can't believe they're raising rainbow flags. And I say, hey, to me, that's just a white flag. I don't see colors.
Right. Yeah. Just everyone's surrendering all over the place. Why is that? Somebody explain to me. I'm sorry, I'm not thinking straight because I'm fucking starving.
Do you know how confusing sports games are for me? Just a bunch of people in white jerseys.
They're all on the same team. Why
in hockey, I can't even tell if they're on the ice.
It's just a bunch of faces and helmets. Okay, let's get to the rankings reviews of the game.
What else?
If anyone
What else?
is here.
What else? What else is like
If anyone else is still here. Okay, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. Mikey, explain how the scoring works.
So typically what we do, as we mentioned earlier, we take a look back at the games that we used to play when we were kids. Because we didn't play this game as a kid, we're going to be giving it its first rating out of 4 bits based on what we think we would have thought of it had we played this game as kids. If this game came out in the early 90s, late 80s, what would we have rated it out of 4 bits? Our second rating, also out of 4 bits, is going to be how this game holds up in the modern day against like some modern games. But Andrew, lead us off. This game comes out, let's call it 1992.
Whoa.
Andrew's fresh out of prison for the third time.
Yes.
Sits at home cross-legged with
64. Yeah, everyone knows. Fresh over the third time. I'm a 3-time offender. That's when they throw me away. That's 3 strikes, baby.
Yeah, for missing your bedtime, baby.
Yeah, that's so true.
What are you rating this game out of 4 bits? Get to the point, Andrew.
Yeah. Everyone shut up. Everyone shut up. We got to get to this. Okay, so here's the thing. I love the original game. And I love that, the Konami game that we've talked about at Chuck E. Cheese in the corner there. I love that game. This is an improvement on that game.
Yeah.
There's just kind of no way around it that this is improved and taken all the things that might have been perceived flaws of that game and made it better. Now, while it is still in the same genre, it's a bad bit genre, and I just think that is still a limited genre for me.
Sure.
I will never finish a game like that, and then even compare it to, I don't know, another retro game. I'm not going to compare it to like a modern game, but like Mario 64.
Okay.
Where you're like, oh, okay, wow, I did a lot there.
Yes.
There was a lot of things that I had to learn and I overcame, and different types of levels and different types of bosses. The beat 'em up genre, the brawler genre will always be slightly repetitive because in nature, by its nature, it has to be.
Sure.
That's kind of its appeal to certain people. So I think this is just about as good a version as I can get, but it still just can't be perfect for me. 3.5.
Really? So you don't think that there is a possibility for a 4 out of 4 for a beat 'em up game?
Prove me wrong.
As a kid, like this, because our retro scores are always very subjective.
Yeah.
Were you just not as big a fan of the beat 'em up genre at the time?
No, it's like candy in a certain way. No, I don't want to get into this again.
Oh, I'm so
I
hungry.
just-
Why would you bring this up?
It's like candy in a certain way that like you want it.
That was my stomach.
Oh my God, was that your stomach?
Yeah.
Stop putting your microphone to stomach. Did you swallow your microphone? Is that it?
Look, we've got this foam as the wind filter.
Oh my God.
It looks like black cotton candy.
It does. Is that you want it badly, and then you get a couple bites and you're like, oh, that was good. But you're not gonna like eat 7 bags or something.
I for me, not the case when I was a kid.
Well, that's why it's my review.
This is why it works to have both of us on this podcast.
Yeah.
We got one guy who's so hungry all the
he's
time,
hungry.
and
He's
another
starving.
guy with bad opinions on video games.
Sorry.
As a kid, like beat 'em ups were like one of the food groups. Like one of the video game food groups was beat 'em up. Obviously based on a limitation of the technology, but like
They're saying food groups. Man. Stop it. Jesus.
I'm so hungry right now,
Mikey,
Andrew.
I know.
But that's to say that there were some that I did think were 4s out of 4. And, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time was probably one of them. A game that I played, beat, and then would continue to play again all the time. Like, no matter what, Final Fight, same thing. I would always play this game over and over. It was hard, but I would constantly play and replay and replay. That's what it was about. So I had a patience for that and the ability to just continue to play these games. You give me this game when I'm 7 or 8 years old, I already know Turtles in Time was a 4 out of 4. And this is a better game.
Yeah.
I almost don't know how this isn't a 4 out of 4 for me.
Okay.
It's just you add an element of gaming that you wouldn't have had back then, which is kind of the growth to stats and the experience. And I know you. It's just not
like if I discovered I'm a time traveler, this is getting 4 out of 4. Like, oh my God.
Well, but I mean, this would give you the opportunity to do that back then.
Yeah.
And I think that little addition would have separated it from every other beat 'em up. That maybe that would be the thing to make this stand out from all the other 3.5s. Right. For me, it definitely does. I'm giving this one a 4 out of 4. Like it's just it's so easily a 4 for me as a retro score. I would have fucking eaten this up as a kid because I was so hungry.
Oh God damn it. So there you go. 7.5 out of 8 for our retro scores. Pretty good. Pretty good,
Andrew. So why don't you lead us off now with your modern score? How does this game hold up to you in the modern day against like some modern games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like Overwatch, like Fortnite, which I know you play, like Elden Ring, which I play, like Rogue Legacy 2, which I also play?
That's a good recap.
Thanks.
Is it okay?
Recap.
I think this would have almost an identical appeal to when I was a kid.
Okay.
The only difference is when that game was plentiful in that genre when I was a kid, it is no longer that way. And I say this, every time we do a side-scrolling beat 'em up or a brawler kind of thing, it's going like, they don't really make games like this anymore. So it naturally gets a little bit of advantage in that way, because if you like something, there's not a lot of it anymore. Sure. This is the exception in the way that this is just a really good version of it. Yeah. Like, it's really good. Yeah. And it's about something that I care about, and it's literally speaking to me. Yes. It's not like if you're 14, you're like,
wait, was it literally speaking to you?
Yeah, it was like, kill your parents.
I was going to say, I didn't hear that.
It's a Son of Sam type thing. It is made for me. If you're 14, it's not like you're like, oh, they're referencing things I like. You know what I mean? Yeah, sure. You might have gone back and watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoons or played the Konami game, but he's literally speaking to a person of my age that went and played those games, that watched those cartoons. And it's going like, and we're just going to give you the best version of this game. It's not Last of Us 2 or something like that, where it's like, wow, I'm emotionally spent at the end of this game and I've really changed my life in a lot of ways. But it is so much fucking fun that I can't help but give it a 3.5.
3.5. I love that. So no change for you from the start to the finish.
Absolutely not. I'm very consistent.
I'm struggling with this one. It's between a 3 and a 3.5 for me. It's definitely not a 4 anymore. Okay. The beat 'em up games, I'm much more like you when you were a kid. A beat 'em up game just cannot be a 4 out of 4 for me anymore. The one thing I kind of struggle with is every so often in this game, we'd peel back a layer that looked like it was going to provide some longevity and some growth and some unique elements to it. And there was nothing there. It's like, hey, this person has a side mission for you. And you talk to her and she's like, go collect my diaries. Yeah. And I'm like, we've already collected a couple of your diaries. Yeah. You telling me that doesn't change anything. That's not a side mission.
What a coincidence.
It's just more collectibles.
Yeah.
And the collectibles themselves didn't have much to lend to the story. That it was like old headline or secret diary or this. It's not like you could open up the old headline and read it. Let me find old issues of the comic. Let me find videos from past, and maybe a licensing issue, who knows? But it wasn't there. And if it was, you know what? I'm talking myself into this. I already mentioned the feeling of kind of like it chugging along a little bit where I didn't have the agility that I wanted. I still think Castle Crashers as a left to right beat 'em up is something that I'd rather play more than this. Yep. The progression of your character and stats and everything is much more, makes me want to play it a little bit more. And I think there was room for that in this. Okay. And I think they purposely chose not to do some of things, whether it was budget or time limitations or whatever it was. Because of that, I'm giving this one a 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4.
Yeah.
That gets us to a 13.5 out of 16.
No.
Yeah, it does.
14. Because you gave it a 3.5 and a 3.5.
And that's a 7.
And that's a 7.5. 7.5 and a 6.5. 14.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Wait a second. Explain this math again.
So 3.5 and 4 in the retro score. That's 7.5. Yep. 3.5 and 3 in the current score. 6.5.
How about that? Well, okay. Well, that's really interesting. Let us get to the awards that this game has won.
Yeah, let's go make our way over to the carpet. I can't wait to see what awards this game.
It's a green carpet, by the way.
Oh, it's a green. Very it's not red. Well, not until if the Foot Clan tries to make their way to this premiere, it's going to be red pretty quick.
Yeah, it's going to be red with their fucking blood.
All right, let's make our way over there.
You've been waiting for it all year. The most glamorous awards ceremony of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, the Grady's.
Well, here we are.
What's this?
We're on the green carpet, baby.
Yeah.
On a green carpet ride.
So wait a second. Do we do the awards while we're on the carpet? I thought we walk over the carpet to get to the award ceremony.
Yes, we are.
Which is in a hall of some kind.
It's it's in the Man's Chinese Theater.
It's in the Man's Chinese Theater. That's what everyone doesn't know that. But every week we rent out the Man's Chinese Theater.
Yes.
To give out awards.
Yes.
For the game of the week.
That's why I just hate that theater, because it's like the Man's. And I'm like, down with the man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm also like,
you're all over the place with your opinions, eh?
Where's the food here? I'm so hungry.
You need like a hot dog guy during our award ceremony. Hot dogs.
Oh,
two.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Call me Slimer.
Yeah, really.
Because I'm chugging hot dogs.
Another famous green person.
Another famous green person.
Do you think it would have all famous green people at the award ceremony?
Well, I see a bunch of them.
Hulk
is
Yoshi.
There. Actually, here's the awkward thing: is yes, Hulk is here, but also Hulk Hogan is here. I think someone missent him.
Oh, no.
Yeah. They were going through their Rolodex, stopped at H, and just blindly chose both of them.
I'm really happy for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Congrats, brother. Also, two things popular in the 80s.
That's true.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Well, here comes Elliot, obviously dressed up as a turtle. It looks like he may have actually genetically modified himself a little bit. Is that ooze, Elliot? Was that ooze you No, that's plastic surgery. Where did you get the budget for that? That's still our money? Okay. I didn't realize we were making this much money.
Yeah, 100%.
He's paying for Guadalajara. Oh, it's Guadalajara. Oh, he got it cheap. It was an experimental thing. He's the poster boy, though.
Thank you. Thank you for doing it on the cheap.
Thank you for doing it on the cheap. You can't write that off. I'm sorry, we didn't approve it.
No.
And you're kind of stuck like that forever. So maybe go back to them and say you want a refund.
Yeah.
Why don't you reach into that slimy, gooey shell of yours,
God.
bring out the envelope, and let us know what awards this game won. The Field of Childhood Dreams.
If you play it, they will review it fondly.
Ooh, and the Chevy Silverado Like a Rock Dwayne Johnson & Johnson, a family company trophy, Hall of Fame trophy.
Another entry.
Oh, another entry. Look at us, 2022, the year of entries into the, and say it with me at this time, Chevy Silverado Like a Rock Dwayne Johnson & Johnson, a family company trophy, Hall of Fame trophy.
Oh my God, I should get one for that.
That's where the awards, it only took you 4 years.
Hey, shut up.
That is an award given out. It's our most prestigious award. It's our Hall of Fame award for any score with a total, any game with a total score of 14 or higher.
Yeah.
Also the Field of Childhood Dreams, where the retro score is a 7 or higher.
Yeah.
I still don't understand that drop. The Field of Childhood Dreams.
Yeah, I know you don't. You really should watch the movie.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Is that what it's about?
Yeah, we should watch the movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh.
Wait.
Maybe we will.
Should. Maybe we will. Okay, check that out over at Patreon.
Why don't we do that? Turn to the side when we're telling secrets.
I feel very fun when I do that.
Yeah, but
if you want
why?
to see us turn to the side, go to youtube.com/Retrograde Podcast. Wow. So this is really exciting. Another entry into the Hall of Fame.
Hell yeah.
And you know, it's funny. Like I imagine in my mind,
yes,
right? This is just in my, mind emporium. Is that
don't let me in there.
I want out. Everyone's in a mask, and it's like a password type thing. Is that all the other games that are in the Hall of Fame, like welcome it and like put a jacket on it, like welcome, you made it.
Yes.
Like Simpsons Hit and Run. It's like welcome Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and people start looking around our Hall of Fame and going like, "It's your children, right? You're just a bunch of adult children." And we're like, "Yep."
I was gonna say, if someone's giving them the jacket for the Hall of Fame, we're gonna need a good tailor that can fit around those shells for the turtles.
Absolutely.
You know what we should do before we sign off?
Yes.
Let's look at the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that we did, episode number 3.
Number 3.
Thank
God, you can't listen to that one.
Definitely. No, you definitely can't. So here's one thing that I will say. We were very reserved with our scores early on because we wanted to hold space for potential higher scores later on.
And then we stopped doing that.
And then Simpsons Hit and Run became one of the highest rated games of all time. I think a 14.5 out of 15.
I think it's 15.
Or sorry, 15.5 out of 16.
15.5
out of 16
Jesus Christ.
are tied with our highest rated game of all time. And deservedly so. Like, I don't need to apologize for
it's
that.
a great game.
It's a great
Go
game.
back and play it.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you gave in your retro score a 3.5. I gave it a 3.5 as well, which really surprises me because I think that should have been a 4.
Consistent for me, baby.
7 out of 8 for the retro score. Your current score, a 2 out of 4. And mine, a 2.5 out of 4. Total score of 11.5.
Okay.
But I think that kind of checks out, honestly.
This is a better version of that game.
100%. And if I remember correctly, we didn't do Turtles in Time. I think we did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade port on the NES. Maybe Turtles in Time would have been better, but who knows?
Sure.
Who's to say?
It's
not like we run this podcast.
Absolutely.
We own this city, but we don't run this podcast.
We just did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. If you are playing that game on the many different ways that you can be playing that game, we want to hear from you at Retrograde Mikey and at Retrograde Andy, because we are both going to continue playing this game. And I want to hear like any secrets, any little Easter eggs and stuff like that we need to know. Like,
are they chocolate Easter eggs? Because I am so hungry right now.
Oh my goodness, we love every single one of you. This one's got to go eat. My name's Andrew Bascom, and with me as always is the hungriest man on the planet,
Mikey Aaronworth.
This is the Retrograde Podcast.
Game over.
Yum. You ate a cat.
Want more Retrograde in your life? You can visit our website for show notes at theretrogradepod.com. Follow us on Twitter at Retrograde Mikey, at Retrograde Andy, and the podcast at Retrograde Pod.
Or Instagram at The Retrograde Podcast.
For bonus episodes, check us out at patreon.com/The Retrograde Podcast.
Send your questions and business inquiries to theretrogradepodcast@gmail.com.
See you next week, D-pads.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Can I get a hiya?